Thanks for that, Richard. Thanks for everyone coming today. Stonewall Resources is in a transition phase at the moment. We're going to rename ourselves Theta Gold Mines. Theta Gold Mines has an ambition of becoming a miner, in the near term and short term. Essentially, as part of that process, we plan on being a sustainable miner. We're based in South Africa. There's a disclaimer there. And essentially, I guess the main point is that we have close to 6 million ounces, JORC 2012 ounces of gold under management. Recently this year, we've already drilled out 600,000 ounces. That's part of our Theta Hill Gold Project. That Theta Hill Gold Project will be our first open pit. Essentially, we've just completed a scoping study there with great economics and metrics, fantastic internal rate of return. We've got an existing plant. We've got a fully permitted tailings dam. Theta Hill open cut's only 2 kilometres downhill from the existing plant. Within that 2 kilometre range, there's multiple other targets. We're already drilling at Day Mine. We're going to drill out Columbia Hill as well as part of that process. There's 2 drill rigs on site now as we speak. And what we're really looking to do is use that Theta Hill model to further enhance our exploration potential with 43 existing mines in the property. Now, I really like this slide because essentially South Africa is the world's home of gold. South Africa is 60% of the world's gold. There's very few Australian explorers in this section of the world. If you look at the green area, there's the Barberton gold mine. Essentially, Barberton is owned by a company called Pan Africa. Pan Africa has a market cap of 198 million pounds. And you look down there, we own and control our own goldfield as well. We've got about 620 square kilometres under management. It's a system of 21 flat-lying reefs, and there's also a vertical component in the Archean section in the basement rock. Now, what this allows us to do is really drill this thing out really effectively and efficiently. I'll talk about that in a minute, but just in the context of size, Stonewall basically has its own goldfield, and not very few companies in Australia can say that. Now, you can see year on year, we've always increased this resource. This year, we've had a great year. We've already added 2 million ounces to the resource base. We did this for less than $15 US an indicated ounce. We've got about 1 million ounces under open cut management as well, and there's some underground potential as well. But really, at the moment, what we want to do is concentrate on the open cut potential. Coming from Western Australia, this is a process I've been through many times. We go to the historical mine site, we drill it out, we increase the ore envelopes, we take the 5 gram, we come back 10 years later, we take the 3 grams, and now in Western Australia they're coming back and get the 1 grams. But this process in South Africa has never been done. They always really concentrate on the underground potential. We can see here we have a very low EV compared to our peers. We think some of this is due to a function of jurisdiction. But South Africa has great infrastructure, highways, freeways, franchises, anything you would find in the modern world. It has everything, including electricity. Now, the share graph there's under a little bit of pressure, but I think what needs to be really concentrated on here is the fact that 85% of Stonewall is held by the majors. The majors are very supportive. They've recently been to site. They've taken their technical teams. They're supporting the company through this whole process. They're very excited about the project. They flew around in the helicopter. They had a great time. The technical teams have been over the plant. They've been over the ore body. They've looked at the core, and they're all keen to support the project. At the moment, we're going through a consolidation process. So essentially, the capital is being restructured, but we're doing this in a very fair and equitable way. If you own 1% of the company yesterday, post-consolidation, you own 1%. So really all we're doing is chopping a 0 off at the consolidation 10 to 1. What this allows us to do is for fund managers and sophisticated investors to take a new look at Stonewall, or what will be Theta Gold Mines, and reassess. Fundamentally, Theta Gold Mines is a new company. There'll be a new constitution. There's a new board. There's a new attitude, a new process, and new goals. So we're very keen to rebrand ourselves separate from Stonewall in a way, because we're a very technical-based team, and by driving this process technically, we've been able to really realise some value for the shareholders. So Usually at this point I would hand over the presentation up to Rob. Rob's built many gold mines around the world, and so our processing plants, including Sepon. Rob's our MD. We're very proud to have him, and essentially what Rob would eventually take you for the detail of the scoping study, but unfortunately it's just too many slides and it's a little bit long, so what we're going to talk about a little bit is our history. So in 2016, this journey sort of began for some of the people. About 2016, Rob sort of came in and took over the company and really focused on the technical issues, started to take the company through going back to the data and letting the ground speak to him. And basically what the ground told him, this is open cut potential here, not underground potential. So being a miner from all around the world, his vision of the world is quite large. He's worked in Southeast Asia, has worked pretty most continents on Earth. And what he's been doing for the company is really giving it an edge. Now, he grew the resource base to about 4.2 million. This year alone, we've added, like I said, close to another 2 million ounces. So every year we've been able to increase this resource base. These are just little scoping studies that have been done along the way, but what really we're trying to show here is that the Theta Hills, the board has made the right decision by not going underground. By going open cut, our scoping studies are telling us, we need less capital. We need very little capital for the Theta Hill. To fix the plant up, something around $12 million US, $11 million US, plus or minus 30% with the scoping study. You probably need, $5 to $10 million of working capital. But at these levels, you're talking about a very small amount of money to get a company in production. And that's an opportunity that's quite rare. Usually everyone these days wants $1 billion, $200 million. We need a very small amount of capital, and we think that'll serve the shareholders better in the long run. If we can grow our resource base and production profile out of cash with our high margin open kit material, the shareholders will get most of the benefit. And you can see all the potential here. Essentially all those little red, purple and green lines are outlines of historical underground workings. So what we do is we go back, we digitise the historical workings. In South Africa, all the workings are face sampled. That goes into a computer model and a GIS package. The guys digitise it up, put it into the 3D. From the 3D, we design a drill program. Before we even drill the first hole, we look to see if those holes can potentially be economic from the historical data. So not a cent is wasted as far as the drilling is concerned, and that's why it's been so effective. We barely miss. We've drilled nearly 200 holes this year. A couple have gone in the stopes, but the reality is nearly every hole hits some form of gold in some way, shape or form because of the flat nature of these reefs. There's just the view of the plant and Theta Hill itself. We can see it's all downhill, which is great if you're driving trucks down to the plant. And I think the really clever thing actually, I don't know if I got that side, those feet in the north, just want to skip a few here actually. So we can see what the scoping study is actually what I call scoping study heavy. It actually has a mine schedule and a plan. We can see there's about 7 years of mine life. There's an internal rate of return of about 132%. It throws off a lot of accumulated cash at 213 US. So, people say it's small, but it generates a lot of cash. And I think that's something we've forgotten in the industry these days. It's not about being the biggest. It's about making the most cash. They're just little comparisons to other grades and gold mines around the world, some nice pictures. What we want to do here is actually use these surface miners in this picture here. What the surface miners do is they take a flat cut through the reef. Our reefs are flat, like we said, and what we've done is we've diluted our reefs down to 1 metre. Our hope is as we go forward, we might be able to refine that and reduce that dilution down. So that's the method we're looking at, contour haulback. What this allows us to do is be sort of really at the cutting edge of mining in a way, especially in South Africa and gold mining, because what we do is we push the dirt behind us, and as we go forward, the hill is reformed. So the locals get to keep their hill, they get the jobs, and the topography is put back together, soil goes back on top, and it's the way we left it, the way we came is the way we leave it. So essentially, their environment's not spoiled. In the meantime, there's been a lot of cash and a lot of education and a lot of support of the local community, and the environment's virtually undamaged. And that's one of these machines in operation, goes directly into the truck. And what this helps us do is protect the reef. The reef's actually oxidised and fragile. That's why we get a great recovery of over 92%. But we want to put it straight in the truck because it is actually quite delicate and soft, and that's why these surface miners work so well. They'll cut through it. Our diggability curves are very low. From a geophysical viewpoint, the rock's quite soft. So it's got everything going for it in a way. These slides are effectively extra just for presentation purposes, but you can see on this one the core was one I like because the core's so broken up and oxidised. So you can see how that's going to dig quite easily. And that's what really helps drive our costs down here, because it really is about the movement of dirt at the end of the day. There's just some of the team talking to the MEX crew. People don't quite really understand us. They don't realise how much existing infrastructure there already is. There's at Theta Hill, one of our underground projects, there's over 4 kilometres of mine workings. There's another one called Glyn's we don't even talk about. It's actually the biggest, but a few things have got to be done there. We've got one called Valhook's got a very high grade. We could be working on that shortly. So the field's got a lot of potential. They're just some of the refurbishment costs, and actually Rob would normally go through this process, so I'm not sort of going to do that, and my time is up, unfortunately. So thanks for all your time today. I hope you got enough out of this to come have a look and talk to us, and we're always happy to talk to anyone. Thank you very much.